Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be showing you some of the NLP applications and we'll be using HuggingFace pipelines. So here what we're trying to do is we assume that you have an application that you're trying to do, something that you can apply NLP to, but you don't want to get through the complicated coding and all that and training your own model. You just want to use something off the shelf to do that particular application. So to make it concrete, let's assume that you have created a product, probably a website or something. And on that website, you have reviews from people. And what you're trying to do is to understand what people are saying about your website. Is it a good website or a bad website? What you might want to see is to look at the comments which are negative, which might be complaining about your website. But you don't want to get through training your own models, and probably you don't have time to do the coding and everything. So that's like the kind of scenario that we are in right now. We just want to use something off the shelf that's already prepared for us to use. So in this video, we're going to use HuggingFace pipelines, which have abstracted all that coding for us so that we can just concentrate on that particular task or problem at hand. So the first thing that we want to do is to install transformers from HuggingFace. In this video, I'm using Google Colab, which doesn't require any setup. It has PyTorch already installed. So all you have to do is to install transformers. So I'll put, I'll say pip install transformers. So this is going to install transformers for us, and from the transformers we can get the pipelines. We can get access to the pipelines. So if you don't know how to use Google Colab, I have a video about using Google Colab, so you can check that video out. So now transformers has been installed. All we need to do now is to get to import the pipeline that we want to use. So I'll say from transformers, import pipeline. So now we've imported the pipeline, which is the module that we want to use. So one thing that you might need to be aware of is that as we use pipeline, it will download some of the models from the internet. So you might want to connect to Wi-Fi or use Google Colab. So the first task that we'll look at is sentiment analysis. So this has to do with understanding, for example, the views and all that. Pipe, and let me initialize this. So just say pipeline and sentiment analysis. So this will do everything, will set up everything to download the models that I need. And here you see the default mode. So as you can see here, it's using a model called DistillBet. So in this video, I'm not going to go through the models, what they are and everything, and what other options you have to keep this video short. But in the later videos, I'll go through what these models are and how they are trained. So having created this pipeline for sentiment analysis, now we can call it on any particular text. We can now call it on any particular text that we might want. So for example, if we have this as a review, we can pass it to the pipeline and we'll see it will analyze for us. And you see that this is a positive review and it's given it a score of 0.99. So for example, if I change this to a negative sentiment, you see that it gives us the correct label that this is negative, and you see the score. So you can straight away just use sentiment analysis in your application. And this is actually a very good model that you can take advantage of. So having looked at sentiment analysis, let's say now you're looking at translation. So next I'll show you how you can use translation. So I'll call it pipe, but you can call it anything. And I'll use pipeline. So here now I'm using translation, English to German. So it's going to download the model for English to German, and here you can see that it's downloading T5 base. So there are different models that are suitable for any task that you use. So in any case, if you don't know what the models are, you can just pass it the task that you want to do. Here is translation, and that's why it's going to decide the default model for you. And these default models are generally good. But if you want to get more performance, you might need to change the model to a much larger model. So here, let me say pipe. So I'll give it the same text. I'll give it the same text. I like the movie. And it's going to translate this to Germany. So now the translation to German is that. So I don't speak German. I don't know if this is correct translation to German, but I think it is, or it must be very close to Germany. So far we've looked at two kind of applications. So one is sentiment analysis, and another one is translation. So as you can see, how you do this it's very simple actually, because all the code, the complex code, has been abstracted away in this library by HuggingFace. So you can actually find more tasks that you can do with pipeline. So here I've opened the link to the HuggingFace pipelines library. I'll put this in the description below. And as you can see from this list, there are a number of tasks that you can do. You can do audio classification, automatic speech recognition, conversational pipeline, conversational, you have feature extraction, fill mask, image classification, image segmentation, object detection, question answering. You can do summarization, table question answering, text classification. Text classification is similar to what we've already covered, sentiment analysis. And you can also do text generation. You can do token classification, translation, so we've covered translation. You can also do zero shot classification. As the next example, let me show you how you can do generation using a pipeline, using the pipeline module. So I'll just call it, I'll give it the same name, and pipeline. And here we're looking at text generation. So here for text generation, you see that it's downloading GPT-2. So you can see the models here. So as you can see, there are several models that work well for different tasks. So if you're interested in learning on how to create your own models, how to train your own models, I'm going to cover that in the next videos after doing these applications. So now for generation, let me just say pipe, and you have to give it some form of an introduction to what you're trying to write. And then I'll let the model complete that for me. So here, just at I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to, so it completes. I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to bed after 6 a.m. My bed started to, so it's a bit hard to see that. So let me just redo this because it's a bit hard to see. So I'll just pass it to some variable. So let me just print it now. So you see what it has generated. So I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to bed, and at about 9. So every time you call it, it's going to generate something different. So here it says I woke up at 3 a.m. I went to bed, and at about 9:30 a.m. came home from work and began to get upset. I told him the police could call me at any time, but he said he so this is like one other application that you can use. So that's generation. You can just use to generate something else. And let me show you another application. So similar for question answering, is going to download another model that's suitable for question answering. So if So right now I'm just using the defaults, but you can also specify the model that you need. So you can look at the library and you can see like what you can do with it. So here I'm going through like a very simple kind of introduction. So you can see here you can specify the model that you need. So as you see, you have a task and then you can have a model and some configurations. You can specify the tokenizer, or so there's several other options that you have. So here I'm leaving everything like with default options, but just specifying the task. So we need the question. So for the question, I'll call it Q. Let me say when was. And then for the context, we need the context. I'll call it C. This is now what describes Obama was born. So just say Obama was born in 1961. He was a senator 2005 to 2008. So now for the question, I'm just going to call the pipeline, give it the question. So the question is Q and the context. So you see that from here it's picked that Obama was born in 1961. So this is based on this context that I gave it. So if I change this context, for example, to 1965 and ask the model, you see that it will change the answer to 1965. So this is like one application that this is called the question and answer, and you can use it to find like some answers in a particular document, for example. And you can also use it like for schools, those who are interested in education applications. You can also use question and answering. Given a paragraph of some sort and a question asked about that paragraph, you can automatically extract some answers from that question. So for example, here if I change this to when was Obama a senator and run that, see that it's changed now the answer to 2005. So this is also one interesting application that you can use pipelines for. And as you saw from here, these are other applications that you might want to look at. So depending on what you're interested in. So if you're tired of reading long articles and you just want to summarize, you can look at summarization. So let me show you an application of summarization. So here. So now let's look at summarization. So as that is going on, let me just get some article that I want to summarize. So okay, so I'll get this like an article from Wikipedia and just try to summarize that. So the download is complete, and you see in this case it's using DistillBat. So let me just call this a document. So I have the document now. Now I can summarize it. So I just give it doc. So yeah, so it's so that's like the document that I copied from. So here I'm calling it a document, but it's just like a paragraph I copied from Barack Obama, but we can call it even a document. So and then do summarization on that. So let me just pass it to X so that I can print it. So now if I print it, you see Obama was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. He was the first black president of Harvard. So this is like it picks a summary from what's written about this article here. So you see that the first part, Obama was born in Honolulu, Hawaii, is exactly this first line. And then it picks the other part. He was the first black president. So you see here it describes, if you look at the context, it has a lot of information, and somewhere here it says he was the first black president of Harvard Law Review, which is what the model writes here. He was the first black president of Harvard, so it has left out the law review. So this is like another application that you can look at that is using summarization. So if you're tired of reading long articles and you just want to get a bit of information about the topic, you can look at summarization. So you can actually create even a website for people where they can actually do these things. You get a longer article and you compress it into a much smaller article automatically using the models. So just be careful. Of course, these models are not perfect. So yeah, just be careful and warn the users about what you're doing and some of the potential dangers that might be there. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining me in this video. So we've covered a few applications of NLP, and in the next videos we'll now start getting, so in the next video get into more details about what these models actually are and how to create these models. We'll look at the architectures of these models. We'll look at how you can train your own model, customize an off-the-shelf model on your own data set and everything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next video.